Hello friends, so today we are going to write program for checking that given number is prime number or not. So first we will discuss about what is prime number. So simple concept behind prime number is that we can say that prime number, if any number is not going to divide by 1 or itself, then we can say that that number is prime number. Suppose we have num is equals 8, so num is going to divide by 2, 4, right? So we can say that this num 8 is not prime number because this 8 is going to divide except 1 and itself. So suppose we have example as 5, and we can say that this 5 is prime number because 5 is not going to divide by any other number except 1 and itself. Suppose 5 is not going to divide by 3, 5 is not going to divide by 2, 5 is not going to also to divide by 4. So we can say that this 5 is prime number. So how we will solve this problem using coding? So let's first discuss about it. So suppose we have value as 5 and we have to check this 5 is prime or not. So first what we will do, we know that 1 is going to divide by 5, right? So we will not start from 1, we will start from checking 2. We will take 2 and we will check this 2 is going to divide 5 or not. So we say that this 2 is not going to divide 5. Then we will go next and we will try to check with 3. 3 is also not going to divide with this 5. Again we will go and we will now check with 4, and 4 is also not going to divide this 5. And next time we have 5, and we know that 5 is going to divide this 5. So in this case we clear the concept with that this 5 is not going to divide by any other number except 1 and itself. So we can say that this 5 is prime number. So for solving this one, we will use one loop, and here we need this value, right? We know we have num equals 5, and we need to take these values 2, 3 and 4. So from where we will get this value? We will start one loop from 2 and we will run this loop until last element of this 5 until 5, and we will check if this this 5 is going to divide by any other number of this any other value, right? So in that time what we will do, we will break loop, and outside that loop we will check if value of I, right, that for loop variable, if value of that loop will be 5, right? 5, it means that this 5 is going to only divide by last. It means this 5, it means that this 5 is not going to divide by any other number. If suppose value of this loop will not be 5, it means that this 5 is going to divide any other number before this 5. Suppose as example, if we have taken example of 8, right? Suppose we have 8, right? We will start our loop from 2 and we will run this loop until 8. So here we will check in first time when our I loop variable will be 2, we say that this 2 is going to divide 8. So in this time we will write logic such that whenever we will write any number of I will divide this 8, we will break the loop, and outside that loop we will check if this I will not be equals to 8, we can say that this I is going to divide this number. So we say that this is not prime number. So let's implement this concept in coding. So for solving this one, we have num equals 8, right? And here we will create one I variable so that variable will work with a loop. So here we have created I also. Here we will start loop for so we have already created I, so we will use I equals 2 and we will run this I until n. So I is less than equals to num and I plus plus. Here inside this loop we will check if num percent I is equals 0, it means that it means that we are going to check this I is going to divide num completely or not. So if suppose whenever I will divide this num, here what we will do, we will break the loop, and after ending that loop we will check if our I value will be this one num. It means that this I is not going to divide any number except that last number, same as that num. So we can say that in this case our value will be prime number. So here we will print cout num. So here we will print value of num and we will put is prime number. And else case, we know that in else case our I value will not be same as num. It means that before reaching the last right value till n, I is going to divide by that number. So we say that this will be not prime number. So num is not prime number. So let's run this program. If you see each and every program, I have written this return 0 in last of this statement. So the reason behind this writing this return 0 is that I have used int main, right, as a main. In many programs you will find void main here, right? So whenever you will get void main here, you will not find return statement in that code. So here return statement, it means that I am going to return 0, and 0 is integer value. That's why I have written here int main. Right, so I think it is clear with you. So let's run this program. So when I will run this program, you can find that this 8 is not prime number, because this 8 is going to start divide with 2. So you can see that this is printing 8 is not prime number. So let's change the value of 8 to any other. Suppose we will change value of 8 to 5, and this time it will print this 5 is prime number. You can say that they printed that 5 is prime number. So this is very basic problem for checking that any number is prime or not. We can modify this code in other way also, so that we don't need to write this too much of a long process, right? So how we will change this process? So let's check. Suppose here we will write in that loop. Here if you will see in this loop what we have done, if you will see, we have done that whenever we will this num will divide any this num will divide by I, we are going to break, right? So we don't need to use this inside this here. We can also use this same instead of writing this here, and we will check. Right here we are going to start I with 2, and we are going to check if num percentage I equals 0. In this case we will break. So in first case, for solving this one, here we will use not equals, because that we need to run this loop until this num is not going to divide by this I. So and we have used infinite loops, that's why we have used semicolon here, because we know that we don't need any statement inside this for loop. That's why we have used semicolon here. Right, so what it will do, that it will start I from 2 and it will increment I, right, until that I is not going to divide that num, because here we have used not operator. So suppose in first case we have I equals suppose 8, right? Suppose we have I equals 8, and in first case our I value is 2, and here when it will comes, it will see that 8% is 2 is not equals 0. It will be false, because 8% is 2 equals 0, and 2 is going to complete divide this 8. So in this first case our loop will end, it will not go further, and our loop will end. And after ending that loop, here we are checking I is equals num. No, our I value is 2, so it will be false, and here else case will run, and it will print that num, it means 8 is not prime number. Suppose we have value as 5, then what it will happen, here it will start I equals 2, it means it will put value of I is 2 from starting, and here it will check num percentage I, it means that 5% is 2 is not equals 0. This will true this time, because 2 is not going to complete divide this 5. Then after getting this true, we don't have any statement, right, any block inside this loop, so it will not go inside, because inside this for loop, because we have used semicolon here. So it will go and it will increment the value of I. This time value of I will be 3, right? This time value of I will be 3. So right, let's explain. So I value of I will be 3. It will again go here and it will check num percentage 3, 5% 3, it will not equals to 0. So in this case again condition will true, and again it will jump here and it will increment the value of I. So this time value of I will be 4, and again here it will come and will check num percentage 4, 5% 4, it will not equals to 0, because it will put a remainder 1. So in this case this statement is also true. Again it will go and it will increment the value of I. This time value of I will be 5, and we know that 5 is going to divide this 5 completely. So in this time this condition will be false, because when we have written 5 percentage 5 it not equals 0, it will be false because 5 percentage 5 equals 0. So in this case this loop will end, it will come here and it will check 5 is equals 5 because our I value is 5. So in this case we know that if our value is 5, it means that this I is not going to divide any other number, this num earlier. So here we are going to print this statement, this is cout num is prime number. So this is very basic problem for finding that given number is prime or not. So in next video I will use this same concept of checking prime number, and in next video I will write program for finding first and prime number. Suppose user have given 10 and you have to print first 10 prime number. So we will go further and we will write program for that in next video. So if you like, don't forget to subscribe.